What's going on, Sacktown viewers? I'm Ray.
And I'm Jared.
And welcome to another episode of that Sacktown podcast.
So we're going to finish off our ranking series of our NBA by position and by coach. We're going to do our top 5 centers, top 5 coaches, same format as all of our videos. Going to go down, give a little rundown. And just a quick little shout out. Thank you guys for the 50 subs. It's a small milestone, but it's one that we have. It's honestly I know for some people, it's super hard to sit through, a decently long podcast and not get bored. But it's the real sports fans that actually know, a 40-minute, 50-minute podcast for talking about sports, that's nothing. So we appreciate everybody that watches the video, that likes the video, that sits through the video and actually listens to it and has their own thoughts about it. We appreciate you guys spreading the love about it, too. And we're going to grow to 100 soon. And we're going to have a banger for that. If you got anything else to say, if not, we can go straight to our list.
This video is sponsored by McDonald's. Just kidding, I wish. Let's get on to it. You want to start with your honorable mention for centers?
Sure. My honorable mention is DeMarcus Cousins. My guy, Boogie. Only reason why he's not on my top 5, he definitely be top 5, is that he's been injured. It sucks because he finally got to play with Anthony Davis. Then he chose the Kevin Durant cop-out role. He wanted a championship. He's probably going to get one this year. So I think if he would have stayed with Anthony Davis and didn't get injured, I think he could really have contention for the best center in basketball because Boogie's crazy talented. I feel so bad that he wasted the first 7 or so seasons in Sacramento with the garbage of an organization. But we all know how good Boogie is, but he's in his point of his career when he's super injured all the time and he can't stay on the court, so I can't put him above guys that can play.
My honorable mention is Nikola Vucevic. Great player. He doesn't crack the top 5 for me, but I love Vucevic. I want to see him on a contending team. I want to see him convert to a power forward, but that's my honorable mention.
Yeah, I was going to say just quick little thing is I put him as a power forward. Ray also thinks he's better as a power forward, but he's listed as a center, but in our last video, we called him out as power forward. So my number 5, I have Al Horford, plays for the Boston Celtics. He's a little bit on the downside of his career. He's in his early to mid 30s. I believe he's 33 or 30, something like that. Al Horford is so impressive in the playoffs. He turns it on every single series that he's needed. He was crucial. He played very good against the MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was able to neutralize him in the paint to a certain degree. He's a great shot blocker. He's a willing passer. I've seen him where the Boston runs the offense through him in the low post. He can hit the 3, but he's not there to score. He's kind of like an Andre Iguodala type player. He's there to calm everything down. He runs the offense. He plays defense. He's a good rebounder. He's kind of one of those all around do it all bigs. He's really good in the playoffs. Last year, before that, he gave it to Embiid. He gave Embiid the work. So I just have him there because of his defense and his leadership.
My number 5 is Andre Drummond. If you want a rebounder, Andre Drummond's your guy. He'll put up almost 20 rebounds a game for you on his good games. But I think he averaged 16 rebounds this season. I'm not sure, but it's around
15.
16. Huh? 15?
15, roughly.
15? He could score 20, but I don't think he's that good of a scorer. I think obviously he's a big man, so when he gets in the post, he can back other centers down, hit the post shot. But I like Andre Drummond just for the pure fact of his rebounding. He's gonna out rebound any center in the league, and I think he's still young and he can still blossom a little bit more and maybe go to 4 or 3 maybe depending. But he just hasn't lived up to expectations for me. Great player. He's my number 5 guy, though.
I think he's 26 or 25. He's pretty young. I think when it's all said and done with Drummond, I think he could be a top 5 rebounder of all time. But on number 4, I have Rudy Gobert. plays for the Utah Jazz, the Stifle Tower. Pretty sick nickname. Rudy Gobert is kind of like I think he's like a better version of Horford without the jump shot. Rudy Gobert is the best defensive big in basketball. Draymond Green's up there, but Rudy Gobert is a paint protector. He grabs boards. He blocks shots. I've seen him even switch on to some wing players. He was my personal pick for the defensive player of the year. I know I said Giannis in my predictions, but obviously I can't go back on it. But obviously when Kawhi healthy, he's the best defender in basketball. But he didn't play the whole season on load management. So that'd be disrespectful to Gobert to give Kawhi a vote over him. Gobert, when the Jazz don't have Gobert in the lineup, their defensive rating is significantly worse than when Gobert is in the lineup. His defensive impact makes the Jazz a top 5 defensive team net rating, and his impact is crazy. He's long, he's tall. Like, I imagine it's hell going up against Gobert trying to get in the paint and get any penetration. The only lacking part of his game is that he can't really score the basketball like that. He's he's like a DeAndre Jordan, but not as athletic, and he's a way better defender. So yeah, that's my forward is Gobert.
Right. Sorry, I don't know why I was wearing a football jersey. We're doing a basketball video.
You're good.
But, so I had to switch to Blake Griffin. Only basketball jerseys. I mean, I have a Chris Paul jersey when he was on the Pelicans over there. When he was on the Clippers over there. They're a little small, so I just hang them up. I don't think you can see the Pelicans one now. I don't know why I'm moving, but my number 4 guy is Al Horford for all the reasons you said so. His defense is top of the league for centers. I think he's like a top 5 defensive center in the league. Good offensive scorer. He could block shots. You saw him block Giannis. He's just scared of. There's that joke that he's scared of free throws. Whenever it hits off the basket, he like flinches.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look it up on YouTube. It's kind of funny. But Al Horford, I think he's really been the rock for the Celtics. He's been that guy in the playoffs. I think he played better than Kyrie a little bit in this playoffs. I think you really hit all the points for Al Horford. He's my number 4 guy. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Horford kind of looks like a girl, but that's not that important. His face is so like feminine. But number 3, I have Karl Anthony Towns. He was a guy that coming out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
Kentucky. Everybody was saying Jahlil Okafor was gonna be better than him coming out of the draft. I knew I knew the whole time Cat was gonna be better.
different class.
What?
Different draft class.
The same class, bud. Cat was taken first. Jahlil
Oh
was
yeah.
taken second.
Then it was D'Lo, and Jahlil, and then
Yeah. So here's the thing with Cat. The pros, he's very athletic. He can run the floor with most bigs. He can shoot. He can score. He's a great offensive center. He can score down low. He can score on the block, post moves, you name it. He's a very good rebounder, around 12 rebounds per game. He's your model for your prototypical center in the league. The cons is that he's a very poor defender. He's bad. He's very bad. He so far hasn't been a very good leader. I think the Timberwolves expected. I think this season is kind of my breaking point with Cat. I've been giving him so much. What's the word? I've been defending him because Andrew Wiggins is a bust. Jimmy Butler is a hard teammate to play with, although Jimmy Butler is great. They haven't really had a very stable team around Cat. So what I'm looking for from Cat this year is I'm not necessarily looking for him to be an MVP caliber player. I'm looking for Cat to elevate his team to where the playoffs is in question. He needs to become a better defender and a better leader, but he's a very hard worker. From a video that I watched, shout out to Mike Warzemba. He works very hard with KG, and he even takes advice from Kobe. So that's why I have hope for him. And he's still young, and he was a beast. I mean, his rookie season was great. So yeah, I got Cat at 3.
I messed up my list a lot. I forgot some players.
Who did you forget?
I forgot Cat and Rudy Gobert. I don't know how I always forget people, but so I'm gonna redo it real quick. So if you got this far into the video, what I said previously, just erase out of your mind. My honorable mention will be Boogie Cousins as well. I think he's number 3 if he's healthy, but he's been hurt a lot. But number 5, I'm gonna have to put Al Horford, and then number 4, I'll put Rudy Gobert, and then number 3, I'm gonna put Cat.
Yeah,
So
same
here. Al Horford and Andre Drummond and Vucevic are good, but I don't think they're better than Gobert and Cat, who I forgot. So honorable mention Boogie, then Al Horford, Rudy Gobert, and Cat at 3.
Okay,
And
cool.
top 2 for me was very hard. I think the top 2 guys right now in the league, they're both really good, but what they bring to the table is a little different, which makes it kind of hard. But I'm gonna go with my number 1 guy first for the anticipation. But the person I picked at number 1, put at number 1, because I feel like he's a game changer when it comes to offense. I think he has a little bit more of that like Mamba mentality, and he could drop 40, 50 if he wanted a night. Injuries are just kind of what's degrading his bar. Yeah, I got Joel. As much as I hate how he's kind of a baby, I mean he's awesome. He's a good player.
I'm not gonna lie. Ray. I was a little scared because a couple of weeks ago you were saying Jokic, and I had that feeling you were gonna put Jokic at 1 because of his passing. But honestly, I wouldn't be pissed at you if you put Jokic there. But I also had Embiid. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jokic too. Jokic is a more polished passer, obviously. I think he played better in the playoffs a little bit, not by a lot. Joel played very good in the playoffs. He was just hurt up for a lot of the playoffs. I think they could both. They're not like really good 3-point shooters, but I think both of them could shoot the 3 if they wanted to, and they'll make it. Joel Embiid, obviously in the paint, is a different guy than Jokic. Jokic is pretty good at spreading the floor. So I just want to see Joel Embiid play without Ben Simmons. I think they both do the same thing kind of, and so it messes up what they have to do. But I want to put this trade up for you guys. I saw this on Instagram. It was Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert for Joel Embiid and Zaire Smith. Now that's a lot for the Jazz to give up. But just what do you guys think about that trade? And then I think another one I saw. What was the other one I saw? I don't remember.
Here's the thing. So, let me just get to Embiid and then I'll get to the trade. Let me speed up Embiid. I don't need to go into his game that much. One of the best shot blockers, best 2-way players in the league. It's hands down. I'm a little higher on Embiid. I think personally, if Embiid can remain healthy, and given how good he is at the start of his career, I think he can be the best player in the East over onto the Kumpo. He's not, but he can be. The reason why I say that is because Embiid was better than Giannis was at the same age. It's not even close. But with the trade you were saying, the Sixers will be getting Gobert and Mitchell.
Yeah.
For Embiid. So they have Ben Simmons. See, here's the thing. Here's my problem with what you. So the reason why I agree with you that I don't think Ben Simmons and Embiid can coexist as well as people think. Gobert is a worse version of Embiid. So what you will be doing is you'll be pairing Ben Simmons with the same thing as Embiid, but with a worse version. Gobert can't space the floor at all.
This is the thing, though. I think it's a little different only because Joel wants to score. He wants to be that person who's gonna average 20. And Rudy Gobert, I don't think he minds if he only averages like 10 points a game. That's the only thing. But this is just like, I'm not saying that I like this trade. I'm just saying I saw.
The way that I want the Sixers to handle the situation, it sucks to say, but I think they should prioritize Ben Simmons because he's younger, he's healthy. I think they should take the Giannis approach. They need to get Ben Simmons shooters. They need to get him a secondary guy who can put the ball on the floor and build around Simmons. As much as I love Embiid, but we need to get to the coaches. And actually, I'm fucking excited for this one. This one's gonna be fun.
One more?
Huh?
You want to talk about Jokic at number 2 a little bit more?
Yeah. So for me, here's the thing with Jokic. The one thing is conditioning. You could see it. You could see Jokic is not very conditioned. He's a big guy. He's 260 around that, but he's not ripped like Embiid. He's just big. Like he's big built. Um, so over a playoff series, I trust Embiid more in terms of staying healthy. Or not, excuse me, not staying healthy. What I mean was over a course of, let's say, a 4 overtime game, I would trust Embiid because his skills are more grounded in the paint. He's not a great of a passer, but he's a better rebounder. He's a better shot blocker. He's better in the post. I think he's a little bit more athletic. For me, the thing with Jokic is that if Jokic can be better in the post and become a better shot blocker, he'll be better than Embiid because Jokic is a phenomenal passer. He's great.
All right, you want to get to the coaches now?
Sure.
This one's kind of hard, but
yeah, it was hard.
the coaches I kind of incorporated this year, and then kind of like overall
a culmination of how they've done over their careers.
So I'll start first with I have 2 honorable mentions for this one. I have Dwayne Casey and Steve Kerr. As much as I love Steve Kerr, he's probably going to be a top 10 to 5 greatest coach of all time. I just think this year wasn't as good as it should have been with the Warriors team he has. You know, injuries with Steph Curry, all of that. So you can't really blame him. But I just feel like the 5 people I have above him in this list.
Fix your phone, Ray. Fix your phone a little bit. There you go.
I just feel like the 5 people I had above him, they just had like outstanding seasons, and so it kind of or their legacy is just a bit higher than them. But I love Kerr. If we review all-time coaches, top 10. But him, and then I have Dwayne Casey as my honorable mention as well. What he did for the Raptors was awesome. Taking the Pistons to the playoffs. I mean, that really isn't a playoff team, even though Blake and Drummond they're pretty good combo. I just don't think that's a very good team, but he still led them to the playoffs. So I got to give respect to him.
My honorable mention, I have Rick Carlisle, the Mavericks head coach. I think Rick Carlisle is a top 10 coach of all time. But the reason why I haven't met honorable mentions is because, for one, his team hasn't been relevant since Dirk Nowitzki was in his prime. I don't think that's necessarily his fault because the rosters have been kind of crap. But his team hasn't made the playoffs in quite some time. If his team was in the playoffs, I'd be giving him top 5 easily because Rick Carlisle is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He had a hand in in helping Dirk develop his game. So I think if they were relevant, then yeah, I'd be top 5. But Rick Carlisle was great.
Okay, are those your only honorable mentions?
Just one.
Okay, so let's get into the top 5. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Sure, because I got a bomb. Number 5, I have Quinn Snyder, the Jazz head coach. This one's more of a recent pick because here's the thing: Quinn Snyder as an all-time coach has accomplished nothing. But I'm taking a look at what he's done with this Jazz team. This Jazz team is not supposed to be as good as they are. They drafted really well, getting Donovan Mitchell, who's becoming a star. They drafted Rudy Gobert, who is also a star. The Jazz are consistently a top 5 defensive net rate team every single year. That's partially due to Gobert, but that's also due with Quinn Snyder. Their roster is consistently, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's not a very good roster. Their primary scorer is Mitchell, who's their second scorer, Ricky Rubio or whoever, and they always make the playoffs. They beat the Rockets and they took one game from the Rockets, which I expected. I just think that with what he's done, he has had good success with what he's done, and I want to see him get a scorer. I want to see him get Tobias Harris. I want to see him get somebody that can put the ball on the floor to help Mitchell. And I swear to you on God, the Jazz will make some noise if they can get a reliable, consistent 20-plus per game scorer. They are a greatly coached team. Mitchell is only going to get better. Gobert is great. If they can add at least a very good scorer, and maybe somebody off the bench, given the trajectory of the West, I think they're better than Portland if they get better. I think they're better than Oklahoma City if they get better. I think they're better than. I don't think they're better than Houston. I just with the teams that are already in the West, I think the Jazz can actually eclipse those two teams.
I like to pick Quinn Snyder as a very good head coach. But I kind of got to disagree with you. As much as I think they are a good team, I think what they lack is just a superstar. Donovan Mitchell is just way too inconsistent, and he's not clutch. He'll go like 10 for like 40 in a game, or he'll score like less than 10 points. He's a great scorer, but I just think if they really ever want to go over the hump and make it to the Western Conference Finals, they need a true superstar. But I like Quinn Snyder, but unfortunately he did not make my list. But
Well, one thing I'm not gonna argue with you about it, but the reason why Donovan Mitchell is so inconsistent is because the Jazz's second best scorer is Ricky Rubio. If they can get another consistent scorer, Mitchell will be more efficient. But go on.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, we'll see. I think a good fit for them is Tobias Harris. Get rid of Derek Favors, put Tobias at the 4 spot. But my number 5 head coach, this might be a bomb, but it's Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich is probably okay. He was my number 2, but reshuffling it, he's probably the greatest coach of all time. There's a little bit of debate over there, but the only reason why I have him at number 5 is because he's at his tail end career. He's probably going to retire soon. I mean, he still put that Spurs team into the net. What were they? I want to say they were the 6th seed, 6th or 7th seed, 6th seed. I think, or the Spurs were 6th or 7th team. I don't know. And that's all Pop. That's all Pop. I think he elevated DeMar DeRozan's game a little bit. Obviously, once he got LaMarcus, his game from the Trailblazers, I think, improved a lot once he went to the Spurs. I just think that the 4 guys above him are a little bit not younger, but this year they had a little bit more success. So for my coaches, I'm basing it a little bit more off of this year. That's why Kerr was in honorable mentions, and that's why Popovich is number 5. This is no shade. Like I said, I had him at number 2, but just after taking a little look at him, I have to put him at 5.
I am trying every single ounce of my body not to get angry. I understand your reasoning, although it's completely BS. But I'll get the Pops in. My number 4, and by the way, if we want to talk about success this year, I'll just get into it. Number 4, I have Doc Rivers. No, Doc Rivers is not a better coach than Greg Popovich because I know you're gonna have him in your top 3. Doc Rivers is a great coach. He took a Clippers team that had no superstars, no all-stars, 2 games against the Warriors. That is impressive. I gonna lie, I was getting pissed off at the Clippers. He consistently has them in the playoffs every single year. He's had Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin. That's the one knock. They have never been to the conference finals under Doc Rivers. They choked 3-1 lead to the Rockets. I believe it was the Rockets. Was it the Rockets?
Rockets, but I'm just gonna say this: the only reason why we never made it to the conference finals with Doc Rivers is not bad coaching.
Health.
You can't blame that on Doc. Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were always getting hurt in the playoffs.
I understand that, and I just think, look, I think if you're gonna put Doc Rivers on Greg Popovich's level, I think that you have to if he at least made the conference finals, I'd have him higher. If he made the NBA finals, I'd have him even higher. I just can't give it to a coach that hasn't proven to me that he can make it to the conference finals. Again, health.
He's won
Again, yes, I understand that he's won a championship, but he wasn't. Listen, when he was with the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
Was he the head coach or was he just the assistant?
Head coach.
Head coach, yeah. Was it 2008?
Yeah, against the Lakers, right?
Okay.
Wait,
that was pretty impressive. That was pretty impressive. He also had Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, KG.
Rookie.
That was a great team.
They're old. Come on. He took a bunch of old players and a rookie in Rondo and won a champion and finals.
Say that 2008 Boston Celtics team, that was one of the best teams in that era.
But I next
just-
year
me-
Kawhi, we get KD, we go into the finals and we win it. I'm just saying. Okay, my number 4 guy, 4. Mike Budenholzer. I think he might win Coach of the Year. I think in the running it's him, Nick Nurse, or Doc Rivers. Mike Budenholzer. He's super young and is with this Bucks team, first year coaching them, right? Or was he the coach last year too?
No, it was just this year.
Okay. Give me a couple more years. Let him his accolades go up. He might go up, but just based off of this year alone, I have him at number 4.
I want to put Doc Rivers ahead of my number 3 pick because he has won a championship. Hold on. Jesus, this is hard.
Want me to go with my number 3 while you think about that then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my number 3 guy is Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse had a crazy good year, but it's the same argument as Mike Budenholzer, first year as a head coach. Plus, I mean, Dwayne Casey, he never had as much success as Nick Nurse has as a Raptors head coach. But Dwayne Casey never had Kawhi Leonard. He had DeMar DeRozan. But Nick Nurse, I think he's a good coach. I like his blue suit. And he's number 3.
God, this is hard. So,
okay, let me guess. If I
all right, I got it. So my number 3 pick was originally Brad Stevens, but I'm gonna switch Brad Stevens and Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers can get 3, Stevens gets 4. Reason why I had Stevens so high was because, for one, ever since he's been the coach of the Boston Celtics, they've been a playoff team every single year. They've been a high seed every single year. Brad Stevens has found a way to. He is so young and he's already accomplished so much. For me, this is just my personal thing. And thinking about it, I would switch him and Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is way more accomplished than Brad Stevens. So I'm gonna switch those 2 around. Doc Rivers 3. But Stevens is a great coach. The problem with Stevens that I have is that he did not handle the Gordon Hayward situation correctly. He introduced him into the starting lineup the minute he was healthy, which was a bad idea. But to be fair, he was dealing with Kyrie's shitty-ass ego. He's been dealing with Gordon Hayward trying to get into the offense. He was dealing with Terry Rozier and other guys wanting to get a max contract. So it's just the whole situation is discombobulated. But we know what Brad Stevens can do with a well-coached team. Last year, they had no Kyrie Irving. Tatum, Brown, Smart, Rozier, Horford went to the conference finals. I think they lost to LeBron. I want to say had they had Kyrie, they would have won. But Kyrie doesn't make them that much better. I think he could make them worse. I just think that with what he's done, with the work that he's done, with what he's had, I think if he really had a real superstar like a Kawhi or somebody like LeBron or whatever, I think he could easily be in championship contention. Don't get triggered. I switched him and Doc Rivers. I have Doc Rivers at 3.
Okay, my number 2 coach might be a little biased, but it's Doc Rivers. Okay, Doc Rivers when he was like the GM was horrible. But okay, this is why he's number 2 for me.
Better than Popovich.
Look at our Clippers roster at the beginning of the year. We had Lou Williams, who had established himself as the best 6 man in the league, but he's still only a 6 man. We had a rookie in Shai Gilgeous. We had Tobias Harris, who was people didn't really say he was as good of a scorer as he is now. It wasn't until he went to the Sixers or towards the All-Star break is when people were like, "Oh, look at Tobias! Look at Tobias!" He had Marcin Gortat. Marcin Gortat is a scrub. I don't care what anybody says.
What?
Is a scrub. Okay. He had who do you have at shooting guard? I don't even remember who he had Avery Bradley. He had Avery Bradley at shooting guard. He had Pat Bev off the bench too, and then Gallinari at small forward, and he turned that team into a playoff team. Now, Jerry West is him and Masai Ujiri from the Raptors might be the 2 best at making trades. People hated the Blake Griffin trade. People hated the Chris Paul trade, but just this is just a little rant for the Clippers. From the
You're
Blake
fine.
Griffin ball trade, two people that were going to be max deals and were always injured and hadn't proven themselves. We got Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Landry Shamet, a Heat pick, Montrezl Harrell, who was also on the bench for us, and who else did we get? That's about it. Oh, and I think you could count Zubac too. We technically got Zubac from those two trades. Jerry West did that. But Doc Rivers turned those like not even average players into, in my opinion, average or above average players. Montrezl Harrell, super underrated. Look at him now. He might win six man. He won't, but he might. Shai Gilgeous, he's a weird one because in my opinion he doesn't average the best stats for a rookie, but he is one of the best rookies in my opinion. It's just his tenacity. I'm rambling, but Doc Rivers is my number 2 guy. He took this like scrub of a Clippers team, which is my team, to the playoffs. We won 2 games against the Warriors. The Trailblazers got swept by the Warriors, and the Warriors didn't even have KD when they played the Trailblazers. KD, come to LAC. Kawhi, come to LAC.
You're not allowed to say that. You said you didn't want KD because he's a baby, so don't really talk.
Change of heart. I've had to change of heart.
Change of heart. Yeah, for one, you are overrating Doc Rivers way too much. You're putting him above Greg Popovich. That's ridiculous. Look.
You got Popovich at 2 or 1?
I have Steve Kerr at 2, and I'm gonna explain why. This is completely unbiased. So here's the thing with Steve Kerr, number 1. I think he truly unlocked the potential of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and just the whole style of how basketball is supposed to be played. Mark Jackson did a good job of building up Curry and Klay's confidence. Steve Kerr really unlocked those two, and he changed basketball in a very subtle way. Subtle. 2, I think, look, people say that you could take a coach off a team and it doesn't mean anything. I would strongly disagree. Now, football coaching is way more prominent than basketball. I think we both agree on that one. Steve Kerr, 3 championships. I don't really care about the championships because they have some of the best rosters of all time. He's had to deal with the egos of Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. He's had to deal with the ego of 4 All-Stars on one team. I know that's kind of like what do you fucking do? You have 4 All-Stars and it must be nice. And you're right. It is nice to have 4 All-Stars. But you have to understand is that he has utilized the bench very well. The bench players know their role. I think people like to drive the narrative that Golden State has a trash bench. Their bench is not trash. It's not that great, but it's not trash. Kevon Looney's good. Sean Livingston's good. Iguodala is amazing, although he's in the starting lineup a good majority of the time. McKinney's good. Jonas Drebko's good. He's okay. I just think that you can't accurately put Steve Kerr out of the top 5 because of their whole roster crap. If you could sit here and tell me that Mark Jackson would have turned this dynasty into what Steve Kerr has, that is BS. I promise you, Mark Jackson wouldn't have done as good of a job as Steve Kerr. And before we say, oh, Steve Kerr is trash because he had a good roster. Oh, Steve Kerr can't coach. Oh, Steve Kerr's overrated. Steve Kerr played with Michael Jordan. Steve Kerr knows how to win basketball. The Warriors play so much better, in my opinion, without KD in the lineup. Although they're not a better team without KD, it's a little complicated. But I think that he works better when KD isn't in the lineup. And you know what? If you're gonna be biased towards Doc Rivers and put him above Greg Popovich, then I'm gonna put Steve Kerr at number 2.
Number 1, I had Brad Stevens. He might. I think he's just like he's the next Popovich of this generation. He hasn't won anything yet, but I think he's a mastermind when it comes to building offensive plays, building like what's it called blinking right now. Like what's the word?
Above Doc Rivers?
I can't think. But Brad Stevens is a mastermind when it comes to coaching. I think he doesn't deal with players well. You could tell with the chemistry the Celtics had this year. Brad Stevens, he didn't put anybody in check or anything. But I think you give Brad Stevens a team that's not like this, like functional and has good chemistry. And I don't even think he needs like a real like big superstar like a KD. I think he could just use like two like really good players, and he could win a championship.
You give Doc Rivers that roster? Oh my God! You give Doc Rivers that roster? Whew. God damn! He will put Kyrie in check.
I just gotta. In the beginning of the year, weren't you saying that Brad Stevens was the best coach in the league?
I might have. I don't remember saying that. I've always said. By the way, number one, Greg Popovich. There is no competition. Look, Brad Stevens is not better than Doc Rivers. Brad Stevens has not accomplished what Doc Rivers had with the roster that Doc Rivers has had compared to Brad Stevens. But Greg Popovich, that's disrespectful to not even have the number one. Based off of his career accomplishments, based off of the fact that they're a playoff team for 20 straight seasons without tanking, basically through trades, free agency, acquisitions, and late in the draft. They drafted Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, late rounds. He made Kawhi Leonard into what Kawhi Leonard has been. Kawhi Leonard went from a guy who couldn't shoot a basketball to save his life to a guy who people are comparing him as the best basketball player in basketball. Max Kellerman is a goon, but we'll get into that in our next video.
I'm not undermining Greg Popovich's success and how great of a coach he is. Like I said, in my opinion, he's probably the greatest coach of all time. Him or like Pat Riley probably, but
Phil Jackson
too. It just
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
This year, as you could tell, obviously with like Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer and Doc Rivers, but coaches, it's kind of tricky because you have your all-time coaches that are still in the league, like Popovich or Rick Carlisle, but then you have your up-and-coming coaches like Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer. Steve Kerr could be on the all-time coach too, but
yeah,
it's hard. I mean, maybe I'm being a little too fair to Brad Stevens because he really hasn't accomplished anything. But I mean, he turned Isaiah Thomas into the player that he was. I mean, he's not him anymore, but that's because he's not on the Celtics anymore. If honest, if you look at my original thing, I had Popovich at 2. You can't see that, but I had Popovich at 2. It just, I don't know. I kind of like flipped it around in my head.
Best coach in the league. What's that guy's name? I can't think. What's his name for the Knicks? Kurt Rambis. Kurt Rambis. Yeah. So look,
good coach.
Yeah. I think that's it. I mean, we really look. I think with coaches, it's a lot harder to argue than with centers because the thing with coaches is that you have to take into account roster, era, and just everything. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Centers, I have Joel Embiid. Well, we have the same list, but Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Karl-Anthony Towns, Gobert, Horford. Coaches, I have Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr, Doc Rivers, Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder. My honorable mention is Boogie Cousins and Rick Carlisle.
I had the same center list as him. Embiid 1, Jokic 2. 3 was Count, 4 was Gobert, 5 was Drummond, and my honorable mention was Cousins. My coaches was number 1 Stevens, and then Doc, and then my honorable mention was Steve Kerr. That's gonna be it for today. It was more of an uncoordinated video today. We gotta do more research because I kind of messed up. I messed up.
It's kind of hard.
Messed up on my centers list. I forgot Cat and I forgot Gobert, but thankfully he reminded me of them. So we'll see you next time, Sacktown. Thank you for watching.
Peace out.